Hi, and welcome to Happy Fisherman Adventures, episode 24. This episode is all about late season snapper, and we have a special guest today, Brett Reed.
I hope, I dream, I wish to catch a big fish, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman. All right, everybody knows that there is some snapper around, so we dedicated this episode to our late season snapper. Now, it's no better to find out about late season snapper than from Brett Reed himself, who actually fishes regularly, catches them regularly, some amazing results.
Thanks.
And definitely knows more than us what's going on.
I don't know about that.
Well,
No, it's because I own a fishing tackle, own Reedy's Rigs, and it's in my best interest to know how to catch snapper and when to catch snapper, and so I can relay that information onto the average Joe fisherman.
well, you've been doing really good. I mean, you're posting some beautiful pictures with your kids as well.
Yeah.
And Possum, your friend Possum, and other people fishing around and that. And you've been doing really, really well. Now, talking about late season snapper,
Yeah.
it's a little bit different. They're deeper.
Yeah, I think the water temp comes up in the summer and they go deep, and deep and south is like what we like to think in summer, and you can find them on the mud, and you use your sounder a lot, and you can have some really good sessions and catch some really big fish.
All right, so it's no structure.
It can be, some years it can be, some years it's different every year. That's why I love it so much.
Well, we were surrounded by quite a few boats.
Yeah.
And it was like 50, 60, 80 meters away. They all catch.
Yeah, well, we're lucky. We used our sounders, and I found some fish, and then called you up and said, come over here, and he anchored 30 metres away, and then other people came over, and it was amazing. Everybody was catching fish, so there was a big block of fish out there. Like, I reckon there would have been 60 to 80 fish caught that day.
I'll have to explain that on my sounder, there was no lumps, no bumps, whatever. So there was no rocks, it was just flat.
Mud.
But there was fish just above the actual, you could see them passing through, then nothing. Passing through, then nothing. There was heaps of bait.
Yeah.
And there is still heaps of bait. If you want garfish at the moment, there's plenty of them in deep water. Just bury a little bit. You'll see the little ones at the top. Underneath them, we got beautiful sized garfish. But saying that, I know I saw you fish quite differently. You got few paternosters, you got few obviously snell rigs and that.
Yeah.
Any preferences, or how does it work for you?
If I'm fishing on the mud, the first thing I need is burley and lots of it. And I think about which way the tide's going, so I always want to have the burley pot up current. Pellets, lots of pellets, and then lots of different rigs. So I have two different rigs, a paternoster and snelled, and on my boat I'll have 8 rods out, and there'll always be 2 of us, and out of the 8 rod spread there'll be 2 paternoster rigs, 1 on each side, and the rest will be snelled rigs out the back. And if I find that the snell rigs are going better, I might put another snell rig on, or if I find the paternoster rigs are going, I'll put the paternoster rigs. If it's wind against tide, I might run 3 or 4 paternoster rigs. It's just, you just got to see what's working best on the day.
Bait.
Yeah, bait's like a funny one. I used to try and save money on it, but what's clear is if you don't have all baits to see what's working on that day. And in summer, I lean towards the softer baits, as pilchards and squid. But yeah, just have all different types of baits and see what's working.
So you would put pilchard out, you will put silver whiting out, you will put squid, and whatever takes off, you just keep reloading with that.
Yeah.
I mean, the other day...
And I think with experience, you get a sort of feel for it before it's going to happen. Like today, I knew that the bite was going to be hard before we even went, because it's the northerly wind, and
barometer dropped and everything was against. So it's only small. One is northerly in obviously Port Phillip Bay.
Yeah.
small window.
Nothing can beat experience and just going fishing and working stuff out yourself. Like, you can be told all the information in the world, but nothing beats learning yourself.
I mean, it's good to know the different approaches. You know, there is definitely two main rigs, which is the Paternoster, as Brett explained, and it's the actual Snell rig.
Yeah.
And whatever works better on the day, it's actually on the day.
Yeah.
You just use that. I seen charters. Charters don't like much Snell rigs because people tangle them.
Yeah.
So they all use your rigs, Paternosters and all that sort of stuff with the rigs, and they're getting amazing results.
Yeah, and they work really good. And you think about it, the rig sitting on a paternoster and it's bouncing up. Imagine it's underwater. It's bouncing up and down with the boat, and it's just like a big yo-yo for the fish there, and they come on and smash it, and you get these awesome buckles. It's like,
Well, we had some beautiful buckles, and you're going to see them later on in the video. And another thing, Western Port at this time of the year.
Yeah, I think Western Port's a bit later when it gets a bit colder, like maybe near late April or May, Easter sort of time, and they get a good run of snapper, and you fish it a lot like early season snapper over there, just in the reverse at like this time of year.
With Western Port, obviously, it's a little bit different because you're still using like a Snell rig, but with a running sinker.
I call them Western Port rigs, and you need the heavy sinker. Depends. I fish like pretty shallow over in Western Port for snapper for most of my snapper, like most under 10 metres.
But you still wouldn't run a unweighted.
No,
rig.
definitely no. You need your weight. And then I run the paternoster rigs towards the end of the tide when your boat starts spinning around.
So you just keep them down, and that's...
Yeah, and it's only, I just have 2 extra rods and just put them down for when, because there's this annoying part of the tide where your boat's
spinning left and right and up.
Yeah, and never think that you can't catch a fish in that when it's slack tide. And that video that you've got that's when we caught that
Big fish,
big fish.
What do you prefer? Circle, J-hooks, suicides?
Depends on the day, depends on the conditions. I'm pretty technical with lots of stuff, but in general, in Western Port, I use circle hooks only because I like to keep myself in the game with two fish like sharks. Yeah, but there's other things like jewfish in Western Port. You want to run suicide hooks because trying to hook a jewfish on a circle hook is pretty hard. They got tough mouths.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You heard it. So that is again mix and match.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not stick to one thing because it's and different days. I guarantee works differently.
Yeah.
And whoever fishes a lot, he'll tell you the same.
Yeah.
So, any particular advice that would you like to tell people?
Yeah. Time on water. The more time you spend fishing for them, is the better you're going to get at something, and you just can't beat experience. You can get given all the GPS marks in the world, but knowing how to fish them and when to fish them is you just don't learn anything. And that's why I try not to tell people about where the fish are, but more like techniques and how to catch them. And
the location
areas
it's
are all right.
area, and
Yeah.
because the same people ask me for a tuna. Oh, where did you catch it? I went out 4 times in 4 completely different
Yeah,
places.
yeah.
So there is not a GPS for it. And a late season snapper, I said, I scanned. I scanned the area we were in.
Yeah.
There was no lump. There was no structure. It was flat.
Yeah.
So obviously the mud ground, we saw arches, we stopped. And they were funny because they would come on, they disappear and that.
Yeah. Well, my friend Jason Turner, he was out there yesterday,
Yeah.
and he found a Christmas tree on his sounder.
So, then, we've seen quite a bit of people catching them.
Yeah.
So it's not like a fluke because, there is days like today,
Yeah.
it was north wind, so tide was coming in, so all the lines went under the boat.
Yeah.
And there was no barometer, just dropped.
Well, that's when paternoster. That's like another reason you can use paternoster rigs when it's wind against tide. Put paternoster rigs, and when the barometer drops, the story is when the barometer falls, their bellies get small and they don't feel like feeding. But it doesn't mean you don't go fishing. You always go fishing. Like, you're still, like on a day where there's a low barometer, you're always going to get a bite. It'll be on a tide change, first light, or whatever.
Now, there is no better thing than taking your kids with you.
Yeah, that's the best thing. That's the best. Taking old mate out here, fishing and watching his face when he pulls in a snapper is...
Priceless.
Priceless, yeah.
It is priceless. And put it this way, like today, there was not much fish today, but there was heaps of garfish.
Yeah.
So you can always catch something else, always try different things, always...
Well, if you want to take your kids out, I would say go to somewhere like Black Rock, take little whiting rigs, and go on the pinkies with them, and you'll make their day. You only catch fish this big and stuff, but there's millions of them.
Let's watch a few videos and let's watch bits and pieces. Hopefully you got enough information to actually keep you motivated and go and try for big reds.
Yeah, get out there.
Get out there, that's it. Okay guys, cheers.
Cheers, boys.
All right, let's watch the first video. It is 15th of March, 2022.
It's early morning, 15th of March, and we were on our way towards Mornington chasing late season snapper. It's roughly 40 kilometers from Werribee to our destination, so we got there just after 7 a.m. Here we met with our friends, Brett and Possum, and we were ready. Unfortunately, small pinkies only. It didn't look promising, so after 20 minutes, we took off to Mud Island while Brett kept scanning the area in hope for some reds. At Mud Island, banjo invasion. In meantime, we got a phone call from Brett to come back as he believed he found the patch of snapper. We were on the way back and it was take 2. Not long after, big rod buckled. I was on a nice fish that took a pilchard on a snell rig with circle outlaw hooks. It put a nice fight, and not long after, we had our first fish on the boat. This fish was big, definitely 5 kilos plus. Well, it was worth trusting Brett's instinct and come back to this area. Few photos for Facebook report, and then we reloaded all the rods. In meantime, we did burley to keep the fish in the area. In the distance, we saw Brett onto another nice snapper. In the next video, you're going to see another 2 hookups.
Enjoy. Yep. It wasn't long and we were on the second fish. Same story, this fish took the snell rig with ready circle outlaw hooks loaded with pilchard. Somehow, snell rig and pilchard were the preferred choice today. So when that happens, we load most of the rods with the same bite that works. I did have a paternoster rig as well, and I improvised with squid, with yakka, with pieces of silver wiring, but the unweighted snell rig today was much more successful. In meantime, another rod goes. This one had yakka fillet on it.
What's happening? What's the time today?
Well, before you know, we had number 3 on the boat. In the very next video, you're gonna see another snapper coming up, and we had a bonus, a gummy.
Let's watch the next video. Another buckle, pilchard on a snell rig again. All this in about 30 minutes. This fish felt a bit smaller, but it was still nice fish. In the meantime, the boat that came and parked right next to us started catching some fish as well. Quickly, I reloaded the same rod with pilchard, and the game was on. Same rod buckled and number 5 was on its way. This time Ima wanted to have some rest and film a little bit, so I was reeling this fish in. Teamwork is always important. So far, everything worked perfect. Well, Chiquita had to inspect this fish if it's legal size and if it smells fresh. Now we decided to have some group shots done, so Brett and Possum drove up to us and we took some pictures. They also had 4 fish already, so they wanted to change the spot and try something different. In the meantime, I changed my shirt as the sun was burning my arms, so I put the long sleeve on, and what do you know, my paternoster rig takes off. Mima called it, it's a Gummy. It definitely felt different than snapper, so Gummy was a fair call. As I seen it, it was wrapped up, so I quickly reached and grabbed it by the tail. This one took actually already its paternoster rig, the pink color one, and it was loaded with the silver whiting pieces. Next, I had to spend a few minutes and untangle this fish.
In the next video, you're gonna see a funny hookup. This boat that came right next to us, this particular fish took his hooks, then he came and he took our hooks as well. So we actually bring the fish up, and what happened?
Well, we took our hooks out and gave the fish to them.
We made him a happy fisherman. And to top it up, we came home, we had a few friends, we had dinner, and we were singing. We had my special friend, Lindsay Field, and what a voice.
Oh, he's just unbelievable. It's amazing.
So after fishing, what do?
As usual, they sing and play.
Enjoy.
This time I was filming Brett in the distance reeling a fish, while Mima was on another fish. This time a bit different. This fish took our bite and the bite from the boat that parked next to us, and he had both hooks in the mouth. We end up landing this fish. I took our hook out and we let the other guy have the fish. We just made another happy fisherman. Five minutes later, we had our last fish. Then slowly we packed up and we made our way back to Werribee. Then I had few friends coming over for fresh snapper on the barbecue. Peter, Ovi, Methodie and my dear friend Lindsay Field. To top up the day, we play some music. So here I share with you an amazing musician, producer and vocalist. Enjoy.
Now I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. She tied